Hello. Welcome to the relationship theory. Okay, you know what it is. So let's dive right into it. You see the title, The Monster, the Monster, the Monster. So scary. The monster is necessary though, so let me break it down. What is the monster? So that I've had to write this out a bit, and yet here's the concise thought. The monster is who you never realized you would be during violence and war. Now, why are these two things important? These two things are important is because violence and war, as far as this reality, this world that we live in, it's not so natural. And it's not so natural because, just like I said in the last video, the cure for self-hate, it's not sustainable. Violence and war is not sustainable. However, violence and war in a singular human being as a thought is still energy, and energy you can always propagate for your greatest potential. You can always use it to promote your well-being. So what about violence and war makes it profitable, or the benefit has potential? What about it is in violence and war? Well, I'll tell you. Imagine you were going to take a violent action against someone, whether provoked or not. The energy behind the thought of what you think makes up a violent action to you is all the potential. It's sitting right there in that pocket. The thing that I'm going to, for whatever reason, the reason isn't necessary. The reason is only the point to which you wish to exact the energy that you are about to transact. Yet the thought itself, it maintains the energy. So what do you do with the energy if you have a violent thought but you don't exact it against the individual, the person, the place, or thing? I'll tell you what, you transmute it. And usually what healthy people will do is tell you to, before you take that action, take a moment, slow down, take some time and reevaluate if you really want to lose this thing or you really want to engage in this conflict. A few things are wrong with that. First of all, if you know yourself, you will know if you allow yourself to take a violent action or not. Because if you allow other people's judgments against who you know yourself to be, you're going to be making an action that will deny your greater self. And self-hate always denies self, even though it is established upon maintaining an idea of self for self-hatred. It's silly. Don't worry about that. So yes, you do not deny it when you allow yourself to be who you know you to be without the judgment of other people. On the flip side of that is when you take it upon yourself to recognize the energy and the emotion from where it's coming from. And this is how you can do that. You can recognize violence and war from within in the external if you have a very, very well-placed and well-versed relationship with yourself, because you can see it in other people from afar off. You will know it's coming, because not because you've had a previous experience, but because you know yourself well enough to understand that, well, if I see that thing, if I see that person, or if I know this place and I understand who I am, against such, I can prove the energy within me and utilize it for my greatest good ahead of time. I can never get this video out of my head from this other content creator that said that you can anticipate a punch because you're going to get punched anyway. It's just about how you handle the punch you're about to have thrown at you. And it hasn't left my mind because it makes me realize something. That's what resilience is for. When you don't hate yourself, you spend time in silence, not isolation, but silence, not solitude, but silence about things that you have yet to understand. If you are ever hasty in any judgment you have about yourself, there are two things wrong. You either do not understand your greatest potential in that particular regard, because there's only ever one strain of a thought in you that you haven't discovered, or it's something that you already know is in a disposition with yourself, and you don't really know it yet. There is an engagement always happening from within with the things that work for you and do not work for you. The moment you see them is the proper time you see them, because like I said before, you establish the standard for what it is in your life that you want to see. So if you live a life where you could have seen more and you're at the near end of your life, it's because you always established the standard of living that had you upgrade when you decided. However, decisions are something that change in an instant, because it lets everyone know, including yourself, that you've allotted enough time and energy for your emotions to process and tell you that this is exactly how I want things to be. That's what decisions are for. I say that in You Are You, the very first book I've ever written, in the very first chapter, the introduction chapter. Decision is a portal. So don't make a decision if you don't know yourself yet. That's why when you take time in silence with things, and notice the reason why I divided isolation and solitude from silence is because you will still need to process your day and go through things, meandering about as you will, because of the, we'll call it the fraff, but they are the menial things in this life. The routine, the menial thing, the small tasks, the to-do list, all of the small things, washing dishes and brushing your teeth, all of those things, all of those actions that you take, there are going to be thoughts and processes and experiences that you're having. Some thoughts subconscious and some thoughts very, very conscious, and they will weigh on you. But you'll need silence to weigh in, not isolation and solitude, for the simple fact that you need to keep moving forward. Solitude requires you to do something different from moving forward. It also assumes that you have company you'd rather refrain from being around. Silence assumes that there is a constant commotion, a constant crowd, a constant empathetic happening and understanding between you and an individual, stranger or friend or foe, however that is. You're just maintaining your silence, meaning you're withholding your wisdom, knowledge, intellect, and expression of self because of a lack of understanding about something. So you need silence most of the time for the things that you've yet to understand, because if you rush to understand them as if you knew yourself, you turn into something that hates itself. And you don't need that type of reflection, when all silence will do is reveal to you everything about the monster that dwells within.